Hello, hello, test, test. Hello, hello, test, test. اوكي ممتاز. خلينا نشوف شو لازم نسوي.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
Beginning the game again. Sitting, أيوه. Okay.
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Alright, new control. Oh, شيء جديد هذا.
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
I don't know. You have to tell me. Let me see what is going on here. شو هذا؟
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over. Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Allah.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content.
Well, thank you so much, my friend.
Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure.
Allah يستر.
Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or... Oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if, Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley.
Let me see what is going on here. Just wait. Let me see what is going on here. يا حبيبي شو هذا؟
All right.
Okay.
All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
شو هذا؟ Jump reminding. ايوه معلوش شوف كيف الاستقبال. وبعدين خلاص.
Is that it?
I don't know.
Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right?
يلا we will see.
Goodness, another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh, wait. There's more. Very good. Yes. I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is.
يلا ما بنسي. طبعا ابو علوش انت للاسف ما تفهم انجليزي شو يقول. Thank you for enjoying the...
That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game, and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks, just you and me having a great time together like always.
والله يتمسخر.
What do you say, friend?
والله يتمسخر. لا تقول لي رجعني. شو هذا؟ بس مكان جديد يا ابو علوش. انا كنت هذا المكان. المكتب تغير مكانه.
Stanley, come over here. In the vent. I want to show you something.
You want to show me something? يبغى يراويني شيء يقول. شو هذا؟
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look.
Alright.
I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC. You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember back in October of 2013 when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
ذكريات يقول. شفت الذكريات يا ابو علوش؟
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of
Don't
art,
read any
Stanley
review.
Parable strives and then succeeds to be
اللعبة ماخذة 10 من 10.
ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim. It was Persona 3. It was all of them. And now, it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
ايوه. اوكي ابو علوش ننزل تحت ولا نطلع فوق؟ يلا اختار. يلا اختار يا ابو علوش. فوق ها؟ من هذا؟ Person on the year. شو هذا؟ تسكر الباب.
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. It just needed to be left alone, to spend the rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved video game memories.
في باب فتح. شو كيف ندخل؟ كيف ندخل؟
These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back, to have it all over again. Wait, hang on.
Huh?
I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here?
I don't know. هو في شيء تحت يعني؟
Oh no. Oh God, no. Stanley, it's a collection of reviews from Steam, the online video game distributor. I haven't looked at these in years.
Steam.
I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they?
What the hell?
Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of
What
art.
the hell?
I suppose I could write up a handful
هذا
of
comment
gags
في
to
الستيم.
insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
شو هذا؟ ياخذ كومنتات من الناس، تعليقات الناس في الستيم. والله لعبة غريبة وعجيبة هذه. زين وين لازم نروح نشوف؟ مشكلة ابو علوش انت الانجليزي عندك زيرو. خلينا نشوف الكومنت هذا يا حبيبي. شو هذا الكومنت الحين؟
Okay, let's see what this one says.
While the idea the game is good, it
For someone who prefers
becomes...
non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. Well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did. But maybe it wasn't. Oh dear. What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down.
انت تعرف شو يقول لك يا ابو
Stanley
علوش؟
Parable isn't quite as
ما عجبه له
thrilling as I
كومنتات
always
الناس،
remembered.
يقولوا يتمسخروا علي هذيلا. هذا كومنت ثاني.
What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have. And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it. It's what the players have been asking for, and I'm very proud to have delivered. No more listening to me rambling on and on and on. No, 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 no. The Stanley Parable is a game for the people. And if the people want silence, then by goodness, that's what they're going to get. Well, don't sit around waiting for me to shut up. Go ahead and make me shut up. Here, we'll pretend that I've just begun an interminable monologue, and it goes something like this.
خطير هذا خطير.
And the choices, or what have you, and therefore, by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably, we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so, now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet, no, until 245. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say, the story and the choices, or what have you, and therefore, by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably, we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so, now you see, blah 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 blah. We've eaten too much and it can't be just yet, no, until 240. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment before lunchtime. It can't be. It's the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say, the story and the choices. Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations. Not that, of course, you need a description of it, but if I had to describe it, I'd say it was perhaps less of a rumination and more of a treatise. Or maybe a manifesto. Look, I'll outline it for you very briefly and you can tell me what you think. Okay, so my theory is that any choice you've ever made is simply a series of choices made by the person who you are or were or will be at the time of having made said choice.
يتكلم كثير صحيح.
If by articulating a choice you've already made, you bring that choice into being, then by making no choice and saying nothing, are you not simply erecting in the sanctuary of time a monument to every person you've ever been, making every choice to which you've ever given your Greek gift of mortal and yet timeless thought? Or rather, do all of the choices you've ever made, in fact, make you more not this kind of person? And in fact,
أقول لك خليها أسوي السكيب هذا.
Well, there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless
هو متعمد ترى يتكلم حتى اني اسكته. فهمت انت؟
And it's all over.
يعني في واحد كان يتمسخر عليه يقول له يا ليتني انا اعرف كيف اطوف الكلمات مع لك هذه. فهو يتمسخر على اللي كتب الكومنت. قال انا بحط لك الزر تبى تسوي سكيب يلا اضغط. فهو يتكلم ويسوي لي حركات. اسكت انت. يلا اسكت.
Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now I should say the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer.
هو متعمد انه يتكلم
30, 45 minutes? It's not unendurable.
هو يباني اني انا اضغط على الزر هذا. عرفت؟ انت ما فهمت يا ابو علوش. هو ما بيسكت ابدا.
I think the skip button has been aptly demonstrated and we can say goodbye to it and just wait. How do we get out of here? Where did the door go? Wasn't there a door that led into this room?
يا حبيبي وين الباب يقول صحيح.
Certain that there was one here before. How else would we have gotten into the room in the first place? I don't think.
صح وين الباب
door of some sort or
ورطني هذا.
Something like that. Do you see a window anywhere? A porthole?
والله العظيم يتمسخر علي هذا.
Large crack in the wall. I'll take any of
يا عم اسكت.
All I want is for us. Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours.
يا حبيبي.
I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're
والله العظيم مجنون هذا.
My God, there's no way out of the room. Stanley, the door is gone. It's completely gone.
يقول لك الباب خلاص راح عليك الباب، ما تقدر تطلع. انت لازم تسمع كلامي وتعرف، ولا تضغط على الزر، ولازم تسمع.
And the button, and if you keep pressing it, I have no idea what will happen. I have no idea how long I'll be made to sit here. And more than anything else, I don't know how to stop you from pressing the button again.
والله العظيم لو تفهم شو يقول هذا يا ابو علوش قسما لا تضحك عليه.
And I have to believe, I have to know that sooner or later, no matter how much I plead with you, you're going to press the button again. Why would you?
I will.
I've been thinking and thinking.
I will.
Oh, Stanley, look back. Look back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week. Or 2 weeks. I've been sitting here all that time. Just sitting here. Not a single person to speak with. And you'd think that that's just how it's always been.
يا حبيبي هذا ما بيسكت يا ابو علوش.
You saying nothing.
انقلع. شو هذا؟
Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through.
والله العظيم انت ابو علوش انا يا ليتك انك تفهم شو يقول هذا، يا ليت. المشكلة ما اقدر اترجم لك كل شيء. لو هذه ايفا كانت موجودة انا عملت لها الشير حتى تضحك وتضحك. والله اللي يفهم انجليزي بيضحك صراحة. هذا واحد مجنون يا ابو علوش.
I lost it all in a blur of the deepest longing to undo the past. And when that feeling had begun to subside, what took its place is what I can only describe as the collapse of every moment I have ever experienced my entire life. All of them collapsed down into a single instant. In that instant, I could see myself clearly, calmly, with a collected heart.
بس هذا الظاهر انه ما بيسكت يا ابو علوش، صدقني والله هذا ما بيسكت. بس على فكرة يا ابو علوش خلينا نطوفه. اقول لك البث اوكي واضح، الصوت واضح ولا لا؟ يعني انا في اشياء غيرتها شوية. فالبث واضح؟
It was unlike anything I had ever known.
عشان ندخل في لعبة جديدة. بس هذا ما بيسكت.
It was divorced entirely from the question of
وصلت ايفا.
you and I have squabbled over for so long. There could be no one ending.
وصلت ايفا. يا اخي هذا ما بيسكت والله العظيم. اسكت. سكت اخيرا. بس وين الباب؟ شو بنسوي الحين؟ ها؟ سكت اقول لك يا ابو علوش. بس ما يتكلم. ولا في باب. كيف اطلع من هذه الغرفة؟ خلاص نضغط مرة ثانية. شو هالصوت؟ صوت الارض. حتى الساعة طاحت.
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs down review and make all of their pitiful demands. But then, he's talking too much, they said. First, he didn't entertain us, now he won't shut up. It's the inconsistency, it's the lack of accountability. It's the unwillingness to examine with an uncompromising heart the words that they are speaking into the world. As though there were no consequences for a lack of cohesion in one's assessment of others. But of course, absolutely anyone can leave a review. So here's what we get. We get these demands that seek everything and are accountable to nothing. We get a world where someone will say, oh, there should be a skip button. You should be able to freeze Stanley in place while the narrator sits there forever and ever. We want all of this in the new Stanley parable. We demand it. And then, because it was said, because it was spoken, now it simply has to happen. The most immediate desires, every single thing demanded by every person at every moment in time. If someone wants it, then it's a crime not to bring it into being. Have we been given to indulging every fleeting whim
هذا ما بيسكت.
other than to do so?
هو حاط الزر هذا على اساس سكيب.
This is now the world we live in.
سكيب.
The end is never the end, 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 is never
والله مجنون هذا.
the end, is never 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 the end.
يا عمي يا حبيبي عليك. شو هذا؟ يا معلوش هذا بيجننا. هو يتمسخر علينا على فكرة. يا حبيبي شو استوى؟ شو هذا؟ على فكرة أنا كم سنة في هالغرفة؟ شو هذا؟ أمر على فصول. والله العظيم جنني هذا يا ابو علوش. اللعبة هذه يا جماعة الخير لازم فيها الصبر. يعني هذا الشخص اللي يكلمني يستفزع، هذا يتمسخر علي، يستفزني. شوفوا يا شو المسخرة هذه. اوه اخيرا في فتحة. وين هذا يا حبيبي؟ شو هذا؟ ويني انا؟ شو هذا؟ وين لازم اروح؟ يا حبيبي رجعني المكتب.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
شو هذا نيو؟ والله العظيم يتمصر علي يا ابو علوش، بس انت تعرف انا شو بسوي؟
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
لا انا ابغى انزل تحت. لا 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 ما راح انزل تحت يا اخي. لو انا اللي دخلت الباب اللي على اليمين. لحظة هذا الباب يفتح. اوه شوفها. أول مرة أدخل هذا المكان يا أبو علوش. نطلع فوق ولا تحت؟ اختار. فوق. ضاعت يا ايفا، ما اعرف شو لازم اسوي. وين بيوديني هذا الحين ما اعرف. هذه اللعبة اكثر لعبة شفتها فيها متاهات. بعد وين هذا بيطلعنا فوق الحين؟ اللفت تطول. وين بنطلع فوق السماء يعني؟ كم طابق يا ابو علي؟ لو نزلت تحت كان افضل. وديتنا فوق السماء الحين انت. والله شوف اللفت ما يوقف. يا معلش عملت ايه؟ الحين هذا متى يوقف؟ والله هذا مشكلة يا ابو علوش. وين وديتنا يا ابو علوش؟ ما يوقف. كم طابق؟ يمكن لازم نسوي شيء يا اخي. شو هذا؟ شوف يتمسخر علينا حتى ما تحرك. نزل تحت يا ابو علوش. يتمسخر علينا والله العظيم. طالع الروم، طالع اللفت بس يهتز.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human
كمل
life.
الكود كان.
Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark... Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk.
ايوه
Kind of
طبعا.
anxiety is
ما عندي وقت معاك يا حبيبي. يلا بسرعة افتح. افتح الباب.
New age music.
والله العظيم يا ابو علوش هذا راح يجننا. ومن افضل نلعب لعبة يعني.
And rejuvenated.
اخيرا.
Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
اوكي. شو رايك يا ابو علوش نغير اللعبة؟
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
اقترب اللفت.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
اوكي هذه المرة انا بحاول احل اللغز هذا يا ابو علوش. يعني انا ما حليت هذيك المرة. هذه المرة بحل اللغز ان شاء الله.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible...
إذا ما حليت اللغز هذا خلاص بسكر اللعبة.
Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
ايفا انت موجودة؟
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
والله شكله معلوش تعقد من اللعبة.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true.
ابو علاج ما يفهم شو السالفة يقول شو اللعبة هذه.
Was the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
يلا الحين الأكشن.
The heart of the operation.
Mind control is the
with emotions. Happy or sad or content.
هذا مرة نحلها إن شاء الله.
Eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible... Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control?
الله يستر الحين.
Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do.
أبو علوش مشكلة ما يفهم إنجليزي يا إيفا.
So much that machine can do.
ما يعرف شو يقول هذا.
Supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are said to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say 2 minutes. Now this is making things a little more fun.
هذا باب مفتوحة.
It's your time to shine.
سكر علينا الباب.
You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated? All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground.
شو لازم أسوي يا أخي؟ شو لازم أسوي؟
Or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock, why not? These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is?
يتمسخر علي هذا.
You're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless.
ما في فايدة يا والوش. يتمسخر علينا هذا.
This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. but I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here, just you being blown to pieces. Will you
ما
cling
أعرف شو أسوي.
desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count, or don't. It's all the same to me, all a part of the joke.
شوفها.
And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say happily ever after.
خلاص متنا. طبعا ليش لازم نغير اللعبة؟ هذا بيعقدنا. خلاص. ما في فايدة. بسكر اللعبة اوكي يا جماعة. نشوف لعبة ثانية.